What would you do if you knew the world was going to end in exactly 20 years and there wasn't a single thing you could do to stop it? Would you still bother trying to save it? Welcome back to the Panel Explorer. Today we are deep diving into one of the most ambitious, existential, and profoundly moving Superman stories told in the last decade. Superman Space Age, written by the brilliant Mark Russell with iconic art by Mike and Laura Allred. Published as a 3-issue prestige miniseries and now collected in this beautiful 264-page trade paperback, Space Age takes everything you think you know about the Silver Age of DC Comics and anchors it to the heavy, uncompromising reality of American history. It asks a terrifying question. How does an avatar of absolute hope operate under the shadow of an inevitable expiration date? Let's find out if this belongs on your bookshelf. To understand Superman Space Age, you have to understand its structure. This isn't your typical chronological superhero romp. The story kicks off right at the end, 1985, with the literal skies turning red as the crisis on Infinite Earths consumes the universe. Superman sits with Lois and John Kent watching the end of the world. From there, we flash back to 1963. We meet a young, raw Clark Kent who is itching to use his powers, but Pa Kent, haunted by his own time in World War II, warns him that the world isn't ready for what a superhero truly represents. The catalyst for Clark stepping into the light isn't a cosmic villain. It's a real-world tragedy, the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Mark Russell masterfully weaves the fictional DC universe into the fabric of the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. We watch the space race, the Cold War, and the Vietnam War unfold. But the massive twist that sets this book apart happens early on. Clark meets Pariah, the cosmic harbinger of the crisis, who flatly tells him that this universe has an end date, 20 years. That setup shifts the entire narrative from a standard origin story into a beautiful, heartbreaking race against time. What makes Space Age feel so massive, reminiscent of Darwin Cook's legendary The DC New Frontier, is how it handles the wider DC pantheon. This isn't just a Superman book. It's a snapshot of a generation. Take Bruce Wayne, for instance. In this universe, Bruce and Lex Luthor are rival corporate billionaires bidding for military defense contracts. Bruce isn't just a brooding vigilante. He's trying to build a automated corporate safety net for Gotham before realizing that high-tech weapons don't cure human suffering. His evolution into Batman feels earned, gritty, and deeply political. And Lex Luthor? Russell writes arguably one of the best versions of Lex here. He isn't a cartoon villain. He's the personification of unchecked corporate cynicism and toxic pragmatism. He views Superman not just as an alien threat, but as an irrational variable that ruins his calculated view of human greed. But the heart of the story always loops back to Clark, because he knows the world is doomed. Every rescue, every conversation with Lois Lane, and every clash with the Justice League is laced with a bittersweet urgency. Russell uses this to dissect the nature of heroism. If our time is finite, does that make our efforts meaningless? Or does it make every single act of kindness infinitely more valuable? It's a philosophical heavyweight of a comic wrapped in a deceptively bright package. Speaking of that bright package, we have to talk about the artistic powerhouse that is Mike and Laura Allred. If you have read their work on Silver Surfer or Ecstatics, you know exactly how singular their style is. Mike Allred's clean, retro, clear line aesthetic is the absolute perfect choice for a story set across the mid-century. It looks exactly like a comic that skipped right out of the Silver Age, which creates this brilliant, ironic contrast with Mark Russell's grounded, melancholic script. And Laura Allred's coloring? Absolute perfection. The neon blues, the warm vintage oranges, the crisp primary reds. It makes every single page pop off the paper. She brings a cinematic vibrancy to the book that prevents the heavier existential themes from dragging the reading experience down into total bleakness. It's a masterclass in visual storytelling. All right, let's talk about specs and physical build because, on this channel, format matters. Originally released as an oversized hardcover, DC put out this standard size trade paperback edition, and it's an incredibly solid book to hold. It's 264 pages, and it collects Superman Space Age issues 1 through 3. It's a standard perfect bound blue binding and semi-gloss and matte mix high-grade paper stock. For a 264-page trade paperback, the spine holds up remarkably well. DC used a really flexible glue binding here, meaning you don't get a massive amount of gutter loss when you're looking at those gorgeous wide double-page spreads by Mike Allred. The paper stock is a high-quality semi-gloss. It's thick enough that you don't get any annoying color bleed through from the reverse side of the pages, and it handles Laura Allred's vibrant, high-saturation color palette beautifully without reflecting too much harsh glare if you're reading under direct overhead lights. The cover has a beautiful, smooth, matte satin finish that feels premium to the touch, making it a great addition to any shelf if you missed out on this initial hardcover run. Ultimately, Superman Space Age is a triumph. It takes the grand cosmic scale of DC lore and humanizes it through the lens of history and existential dread. Mark Russell and the Allreds have crafted a story that isn't just about Superman saving the day. It's about why humanity is worth saving in the first place, even when our time is running out. If you love stories like Watchmen, The New Frontier, or All-Star Superman, this is an absolute essential blind buy for your collection. If you enjoyed this deep dive review, hit that like button, subscribe to the Panel X-plorer for more comic book breakdowns, format reviews, and reading guides, and let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite Elseworlds Superman story? Until next time, keep turning those pages, keep exploring the panels, and I'll see you in the next video. Between the frames, a shadow grows. The ink is cold.